have we really learnt the lessons from COVID, and have we learnt the correct lessons? And what do we do for the next time this happens?
Unfortunately, the answer is not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
But you're working on it.
Working on it. I think the key problem was that the lack of scientific debate. That somehow someone like Tony Fauci...
The science was suddenly decided.
The science, right? So the capital T, capital S, the science gets to decide what's true, even when the scientific evidence doesn't support it. Like opening schools early, we saw Sweden did it, and they have
similar,
actually better outcomes.
Better outcomes.
And the scientific evidence never even at the time supported closing schools. What was needed was scientific debate. What was needed was to make data and replication the basis for scientific truth. If we'd had that, we would not have had the catastrophe that we saw with the lockdowns and
the politics kind of out sort of forced the science in a way. There's a suggestion that the public would have started to lock themselves down if they weren't forced into it. What would be your advice? In similar circumstances now, is the Great Barrington Declaration and the opening up, does that still hold water for you?
It still does hold water.
Yeah.
Because think about the principles, right? It's let's protect the vulnerable.
Yes.
And then let's not use authoritarianism to pretend like we're controlling a disease that can't be controlled, except because it spreads by breathing, right? The principle of let's protect the vulnerable, let's have risk-based ideas for how do we the mitigation that we do, and let's elevate freedom as a real important principle in public health. I think those principles are really going to be important in the next pandemic as it should have been in the last one.
And have you heard from the British, got some friends joining us, the British public inquiry, the one I've been with?
At Barrington Hallett, I've been tracking it quite closely actually. Very frustrated, I have to say.
But no one's picked up the phone and asked you to come and talk to them?
It's not just me. Like my colleague, Sunetra Gupta of Oxford University, who co-wrote the Great Barrington Declaration, never was invited to testify in Barrington.
And so surely that's just the same mistakes being made again.
Yeah, I think scientists, we're human, and we have this tendency to not to want people to notice our mistakes.
Yes.
But here you had a mistake, if you will, that caused catastrophic harm to children, to the poor, to the working class, and then Britain had terrible outcomes compared to Sweden or where there wasn't a lockdown.
Yeah.
And yet, if you look at Barrington Hallett's inquiry, I don't think that Sweden was mentioned once in the whole inquiry. It's you blind yourself. It is dispiriting to see that these official inquiries have not yet actually really come to terms with the mistakes that were made.